Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Top Table Talk. We're back again, and we're all feeling a bit glum after last weekend's round of football.
Why
am I here?
Well, in Dan's case, it's just another day.
I'm not even top of the bottom half of the table, for Christ's sake.
Absolutely. But look, we're here to talk all football. We've got Dan in the house. Wolfie is on his way very shortly, as is Rich, and hopefully we'll get Adam on at some point as well. But boys, how are we? Other than the football, how are things? We all good?
I'm in mourning at the moment because my wife's just accepted a new job, which means that she goes from working 2 weekends a month to no longer working weekends. So that's completely ruined my life. Goodbye pub. Goodbye Saturday lunchtime drinks. Brilliant. Love it. Just what I need at the moment with United.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. But look, hey, she could also be saying the same. With Man United's results, she could be feeling the wrath of your anger and frustrations of what's going on at Manchester United. But Wolfie is here. Wolfie, it's a different type of conversation today because we're all sitting around with losses on top of our heads.
Yeah. Oh crap! It's all of us, isn't it?
Wolfie, before you start, do you need anything else doing? Because, obviously being your PA for these boys, is there anything else? Do you need to pick some washing?
Did you cover? I've just had my dinner brought in. Could you say what I'm thinking for about a few minutes?
Excellent. I don't think my mind's that dark, mate.
How are you boys, man? Are we Alliance still? Where are we?
Up until Thursday, I think, Wolfie.
Yeah.
Wolfie might change then.
And we're unsheathing swords and stuff. We don't.
Bow and arrow, all that Robin Hood stuff.
Yeah.
But now, look, let's get into it. I mean, look, we could start with you, Wolfie, with Fulham, just because. I've got to say it was always going to be a difficult game because Fulham are good at home. We know that. We suffered that on the back of earlier on in the season. But were you surprised by your defeat? What was the manner of it? I have to be honest, and Pan will jump in on this one because I didn't get to see the game, so I didn't.
You're
really
lucky.
See, what type of game it was, but obviously another dent in your pursuit of Champions League football, or in your case, the title race. So, talk to us. How disappointing was that defeat?
I don't know if it was worse or not than the Bournemouth performance, boys. It was dire. The only difference was Bournemouth scored more goals than Fulham did, obviously, because Sells kept out a couple. It could have been 4-0. We were so lucky to get in 1-1 at halftime. We didn't deserve that Chris Wood goal. I think we had 2 shots on target that whole match. One of them was the Chris Wood one was the Callum Hudson-Odoi. It was just a horrible watch. What really annoyed me was we went a goal behind and we still continued to play like we were level or winning. There was no urgency to get the ball, no closing down. We still sat off. There was times where Leno had the ball in his own area and he's just like, I'm not going to kick it. Come get it. And for us to we ain't going to come get it, mate. So, it's a bit of a kind of standoff with that. And I think the biggest annoyance for me, and I love Nuno, but I will criticize him when it's due, was tactically he got it wrong. I had no problem with the team he sent out because he just went exactly for the same team that just thrashed Brighton 7-0. Where I had my issue was within about 15, 20 minutes, you could see the balance wasn't right. Morata was having a stinker at the back. Langer was invisible in this floaty role that he was putting him in towards the front end of the pitch. And Danilo was having a stinker. And it needed to switch to a back 4, get Langer out wide, put 2 in the middle, get the balance right. And he didn't do it. I think, as crazy as it sounds, us scoring that goal just before half-time cost us. We probably would have lost anyway, but it guaranteed our loss because we went into half-time and he didn't change anything. And he came out after the match and said, we were lucky to be basically everything I just said. And I was saying during the match, he was saying as well. We came out in the second half, probably controlled the game for about 30 seconds if we were lucky. And then it fell in the same pattern. And I was saying on our podcast, I was like, it reminded me if you've ever played Football Manager, you know, when you're like, shall I press pause to make the subs, or shall I just, because I've got it on 10 speed, shall I just let it go for, oh shit, they scored. And that's what happened. And it's like, we're all screaming, Nuno, make the changes, man. And he didn't press pause, man. And instantly, as they scored, suddenly subs started to appear. So it was too reactionary and he wasn't proactive in that match. And I know this will come as a shock to you, but you know, I can be quite reactionary. If Forest win, I think we win the league. If we lose, I think we're getting relegated, right? And I'm now in a space where I'm not looking forward to Sunday at all. At all. I think it's the worst game. I wish you'd won your last two games, because this is Charity EFC about to do their thing and roll up. So yeah, I'm worried about this. And then we've got Arsenal, then we've got Man City. Somehow we still got to win the league after that. I haven't figured out the maths on that yet. But, you know, so one of our guys sent me a stat. Forest have picked up against the bottom teams, the bottom 12 teams. Can you call that bottom? I don't know. 14, sorry. The 6 plus, yes, the 14 teams that are currently placed, we've picked up 41 out of 44 points against the teams in 1 to 6. Obviously not including ourselves. We've picked up 6-7 points, and most of those were against Liverpool. We've lost to most of those teams. So we're doing well against the teams that are, you know, out of those races. But when it comes to those crunch matches where teams are in and around us, we're really struggling. It was Curtis, my guy Curtis. He sent it to me. I read it, Curtis. Thank you. He's in the chat there. He can tell you the stats better. It's a whole pen and paper thing he did. So yeah, am I worried about Sunday? Very. Am I still thinking this is it? Well, the only way anyone wins this league apart from Liverpool is if Villa win tomorrow. Otherwise, man, wave the white flags. It's done.
Wow, the confidence.
Why are you smiling, Pete? Why are you smiling?
Yeah, because look, when we were on the panels before, you were so confident that you were going to be in that race, and you were up there with Liverpool.
I'm still in the race, but it's more so less likely now. I've got the flag out. I just haven't started waving it, man. The flag's in the hand. It's just not waving.
Boys, come on, rein in on Forest. Is Wolfie right to be waving the white flag at the moment? Is he right to be worried, as Chris in particular, about coming to St. James's Park on Sunday? Well, what are our thoughts on this? Come on.
We've seen this before. We've seen self-contained Wolfie before. It doesn't happen too often, but we have it in the system just for when it does. But anything can happen in that game on Sunday. I was just doing up the poster for away days, and it's must win. I was trying to think of a better word, but must win for us, because our whole season rests on this game. If you think about it, because where are our heads at? We need to get back into winning ways, get back into that winning mindset, and get back into putting ourselves into contention for a Champions League spot / European spot in the Premier League. We can't let it drift, then get where we're out of the race we're in the lower, making ourselves difficult for Europe. Then we get knocked out of the FA Cup by Brighton, and then we lose to Liverpool, because our heads won't be on. We need that momentum to take us into the Liverpool game for the League Cup final to have any chance at Wembley. So that's why I'm saying it's a must win, and obviously it'd be nice to take those 3 points, and we would be 3 points behind Nottingham Forest. So it puts us right in the mix. So that's why it's a must win. Just we can't let it peter out. We said it in our reaction show to the Man City game, where we need to get back on track, and we're at home. The 12th man behind us.
What position are you in the league now?
We are 7th on 41 points.
All right, so if Curtis is right, then we should be. If we lose, it's Curtis's fault. I'm here. I'm just eating. Sorry.
Yeah, but remember, not including you, not including Forest, we're then in that 6th.
Ask Curtis, man. It's his stats.
Chris, are we? should we be feeling confident that Forest are kind of stumbling at the moment, and Wolfie's very much stumbling with his thoughts of fighting for the title, top four?
Relegation.
What? What are you on about?
I'm reactionary. I can't help it.
You're talking about relegation. You're sitting in third, man. Shut up. Chris, what's the... should we be worried by this or not? Or is this all a game, or are you just not playing to what Wolfie's saying?
Mate, this is absolutely a game. This is like a bad episode of Clues Out. Like I'm not having this at all. I mean, who's put it in the chat there? Wake Up News says, "Don't fall for it. Wolfie is doing his Jedi stuff on you."
He's a
Wolfie,
Forest fan. He's a Forest fan.
Mate, let me tell you now, right? Did you watch us against City?
I saw the highlights. We were playing at the same time.
Yeah, well, mate, like well, to be fair, it's a bit rich of me actually. I didn't actually watch it, but I saw the highlights, and obviously, I know I can't really say that, can I?
You're doing the dishes, Chris.
Yeah, I heard what happened, and I was on the reaction show, the 2-hour reaction show with the boys, and we were in the mud, mate. We were proper down, proper depressed. I mean, we've had a little bit of good news today, which we might touch on a little bit later. And when I say good news, it's more about the vision for the club going forward. But I'm not taking Forest lightly this weekend. Absolutely not. We all know, mate, you're not fared by accident. Like, you're a very good side. And yes, you know, you've had a bad result against Fulham, but Fulham are Craven Cottage. You know, they're not the decent at home. Fulham, everyone knows that.
I hate
so
them again, bro.
We definitely do.
Mate, that's what I mean. The decent sides, and I think
Are they a bogey team for you boys?
Well,
I wouldn't say they were
double
bogey.
overs this season.
But
Yeah, they're like a bogey that's like dried up. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a Bournemouth that's wet and runny. Like, that's what they are to us, man.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, lads, and I'm going to say it because it's fucking shameless, and I've been through the shit all season. But winning at Man City isn't for everyone, boys.
enjoy it, Dan. Enjoy it.
Last minute.
Enjoy it.
Wait,
Mate.
what did you say? I didn't hear it. Sorry, Dan. Repeat.
That's fine, mate. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine.
Oh man, it sounded funny.
That was an order. An order.
Dan, did you not win at Fulham as well? Did you win at Fulham?
Yes, we did.
There you go.
Yeah,
He said
that
that
fluky
so
goal from that
smugly,
little
didn't he? Yes, he
2-foot tall guy, man, that deflected. And Dan's there. Yes, we did. Shameless,
Yes, we
Dan.
did.
Shameless.
It's all I've got. It's all I've got.
You should be clinging to that. That you're the only team on this panel that has won at Fulham and Man City this season.
Yeah, he's right. He's right.
LB
But no,
1998 says it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
I'd take that. I'd take that. I'll pay you back that £2 LB for that result.
I hope it is.
I wouldn't
This
take
love
that.
affair. I hate this love affair that you lot have got. I want one of you to absolutely decimate the other. I don't want any of this. Next week when we have this, I don't want you all saying, "Oh yeah, the alliance." I want anger and I want violence between all four of you. Sick of it.
I want sunglasses next week.
Yeah, mate. I'll be honest. I don't want to take a draw. We need to win that game, and I think our little rallying cry this afternoon that we heard as a fan base. I think that I'm hoping that is going to push us and the team forward, and you know we really try and kick on, because that performance against Man City, you know, the way that we just folded for them, and Man City are in complete disarray at the minute, and it was just a training ground game, wasn't it? So I'm hoping that we turn up at home to Forest this weekend, because I think we need to. And if we've got aspirations of getting in that top 5, got to be winning your own games against close rivals. You've just got to.
Mate, don't worry. Even if you lose to us, we got Arsenal and City back to back.
Yeah, you've got a bad one, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, but you got Liverpool, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we have.
Later.
Oh,
So-
we're both screwed, isn't it?
But what I will say, Dan, I want to come back to you in a second, Dan. But what I will say is that I think both of our runs after this February are more favourable. So I think it is. Look, you're going to get opposition teams looking at, like, we had it on 12th man, and other opposition fans are going, "Oh, so you got smashed against Man City," and we were shocking. You boys have already said it. We've done it on our review, but it's just one game. we need to get through this month and then kick on after that. And I'm talking particularly, forget the cup for a second, just for the Premier League. But like Dan, if he's still there, from a just because we're staying on Forest at the moment, do you think Forest are gonna kind of take a little bit of a dip? Do you see them taking another dip, regardless of what happens on Sunday, or do you think they are going to continue that sort of train to top four? Because I think most people have betted against them for long parts of this season, but I think now the tide's just turning on people's opinions that actually Forest are going to get top four. Could that then go against them, the fact that everyone's expecting them to get it now? Is that going to add any pressure?
Potentially. Look, I've been saying all season that Forest will just go along and do their own bits and pieces. Yeah, okay, they had that result at the weekend, which, let's be honest, Fulham is a tough place to go. Teams have gone there and they have struggled. So I think Forest are still in that situation where they can just go about doing their own business. Forest will pick up more points than they lose for the rest of the season. We've seen Forest go to teams, play teams, and say this week they'll struggle. Then they've got a result. You know, even after the loss against Bournemouth, everyone said, well, that's it now. That's it. You know, it's happened. They're going to start struggling, and they come back. And I think this game is going to be so interesting because your players are. Pete, we spoke about this last 2 years ago when it was the lead up to the United Newcastle game. You can't afford your players to do what they did, and I genuinely feel like you're probably playing. If you were playing Forest away at Forest, I think I'd be worried for you. But I think the fans will let those boys know exactly what they demand. And look, we all know what St James's is like. It's one of the best atmospheres in world football. It is. I think. Pardon the pun, that 12th man scenario, they will be there and they will have your lads going on Saturday. I think if you're playing away, it's a different story, but you've got to win. You make no mistake about it. Whereas I know that my boys have got to win and we've got to try and win every week.
No.
He said the word his boys.
It's the worst point for both of you, because if you lose Wolfie, well then these boys have been let back in. If you lose Newcastle, well, then that top four dream is starting to fade a little bit. And look, I know that as you've all said that you'd rather a cup over Europe, but you want to be in that conversation regardless going into the business end of the season. So I think this game has come at the worst time for the pair of you. I really do. I think
just to add to that, I think a draw is a good result for Forest because you don't close the gap on us. Now, that's subject, obviously, to what the stupid team Bournemouth do, because they got an easy run. Who the hell are they paying for that run is just beyond me. But, for us, as in head-to-head Newcastle Forest, a draw is good for us. It's almost like a loss for you, I would say, because you don't close that gap.
Yeah, we win. We close it to 3 points, puts it in that conversation again. We need to make sure that we're keeping you as close as possible, because I think, in my opinion, you are going to get top four, and I think if we're close enough to you, it means that we're going to be close enough to be in the race. But it's going to be an interesting one. I don't want to go too deep into our game on Sunday because we've got a match preview to talk about on Thursday.
Well, can we go a little deeper on the chat, man? There's 19 likes.
What?
Like,
hang on.
What are they doing?
We could do that. We could ask the chatters to smash that like button for sure. Why not? And then subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Just also want to. Chris has gone for it. He's gone for his favorite button.
I love that button. Sorry, Zaz. I just love it.
I know.
Okay, that literally scared the shit out of me.
I'm going to be honest with you on that, Wolfie. I was like, what the
yeah, I was like, have I gone blind?
I want to give a shout out to Luke, who said that if they lost, he would never be back on the channel again. No, we can't get rid of him. He's on every show.
He's trolling away.
Take the compliments.
You are looking sharp, guys. You are looking sharp, mate.
This is worrying me.
What are you using L'Oreal? Because it looks very, it's very.
The skin, man. What's going on there? It's
H2O.
smooth. I want to touch it. I just want to feel how smooth it is.
Move on.
That's
Move
a
on.
wax shave. That's not Gillette. Gillette can't do that, man. That is pure smooth, man.
The best a man can get.
You had the eyebrows done as well. What?
This conversation.
Are we looking for filler in the show?
Very, very quickly.
I get news alert, news flash. I get mine done.
Really?
Of course I do.
Really?
Yeah,
Next
you,
we'll be
think,
talking.
you think this is an accident? You think this is an accident? Premeditated.
I just thought it was God's natural
didn't think
gift
that
to
was an
us,
accident.
you know what I'm saying?
Made by design. Made by design. There you
Oh,
go.
you waxing those, Dan? Or like,
Are you getting
Still
pregnant?
here.
You're getting
yeah, is
pregnant?
this turning into loose women here? Or what are we doing?
It's
Better than talking about football.
It is
Yeah,
for
I
me.
don't want to talk about
Thanks,
football.
Luke. Thanks for starting that one.
Especially not with Dan. I've been on 3 back-to-back streams with him.
Wolfie, I was going to change the top for you, mate. I thought, well, I'll freshen it up for you.
Oh, I feel honoured, mate.
I was going to say, are we adding someone that's actually won a game this weekend? And we've not. We've still got someone else in the mud.
Oh my god, man, this is worse than
No
us.
winners here.
We're just a mud pile panel. That's what we
Yeah,
are.
but you know the worst thing, right? Like 4 out of the top 5 won on the weekend. It's so annoying, man.
Yeah.
It's obviously not rich.
No sunglasses. No sunglasses tonight, boys.
Nah. not this week. None of his this week, that's for sure. And yeah, Charlie, we thought Charlie would save us all after his defeat to Brighton, and yeah, he's not.
Oh,
here
he's
tonight.
too busy.
Oh,
moaning.
thank God for
Money
that. I've
spent.
been doing
He wants
streams of him.
I want more money spent. That's what I want. I want them to spend more money.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Needs a slap.
It sounds a bit like him.
Yeah, because that's exactly what he was saying. It's crazy.
Is anyone now staring at Dan's eyebrows just to like?
Well, we'll
Just to add into what Dan said there, though, Dan raised a really good point. I'm glad you put him on big screen. Raised a really good point because, and I think you boys said this on 12th Man, it's mad how much money they've spent, and they still are in desperate need of a goalie and in desperate need of a striker. And look, and after all that money they've spent, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I liked my analogy. Their dad bought him a Ferrari, and he complained about the color because that's what they're doing, man.
That was
Yeah,
good.
it's like that. Yeah.
But they still can't moan. They still can't moan that they haven't got these players because they've spent enough money to be able to have all these positions set. And they have brought a goalkeeper. They've brought 2, in fact.
Seven.
Yeah, but they're 2 goalkeepers that they use have both been brought recently. Like they cannot complain. Like it's ridiculous. But
Can we just bitch about the other clubs then, so we don't have to talk about our own?
Yeah. Let's just keep.
I am so up for that. So up.
right. let's carry on with the Charlie bashing then with Chelsea. Come on. Are they realistically? Are they making Champions League? He keeps saying to us that it's done now, that they're not making it. Obviously, Jackson was out with a hamstring injury, albeit last week he was telling us that Jackson's going to be fit for the weekend, and then literally 24 hours later it was confirmed that he was going to be out for a period of time. So they've lost their striker. Are they making Champions League, boys? What are we thinking right now?
At the minute, it looks like it's City and probably Bournemouth.
Don't you don't depress me more with that B word, man. I mean, seriously, man.
As it stands,
however, the way that teams are operating at the minute, I mean, yes, Newcastle on a bit of a bad run, Forest on a bit of a bad run, Villa on a bit of a sticky run, bad run in the Premier League, but that could easily turn around. The 3 teams, Man City
in the Premier League.
You didn't want to say bad one then, Mitch, did you? He was like sticky, bad. Well, maybe.
Man City, Fulham, they can all go on a easily go on a run of like 3 or 4 games and lose them all, or draw 2 and lose 2. So who can say? But as it stands at the minute, it looks like Bournemouth and City look like the teams that are in their best position.
Can I ask, why is Dan here? And now you've got another one.
Another one. Yeah.
I was just computing. I was just reading the thing saying tabletop talk. And it's like, and you're bringing Cass in as well. So I've just did everything I can to divert any conversation being towards Forest.
But this is why we're staying with Chelsea. We're talking Chelsea now, man.
All right, let's talk Chelsea.
By the way, Charlie has to hold it as well, because any Chelsea fan that tries to give any Manchester United fan shit about Sancho and freedom deserves everything that comes for him. By the way, I've had to go through it with him. I've had it with Billy, with the Villa faithful about Rashford. Hold it, absolutely hold it, because I said this months ago that guy would go there and he would be average at best. And look at what's happened.
Can't they say the same back to you about Mason Mount?
How can we say that? He's been injured. We haven't seen him.
Yeah,
exactly.
No need to see him. No need to see him in shit, anyways.
So that without food in your mouth?
Yeah, I say he's shit, anyways.
Who, Mount?
Because he's crap.
Exactly. So they can slap that back at you. Is what
Easily,
I'm saying.
he's crap. He's never Man United quality. You don't even start for Newcastle midfield, let alone Forest. So let alone Man United's.
They wouldn't start for us.
Exactly.
Dan, were you not saying that you want to see more of him? You want to give him another chance in 12 man?
Out of all the midfielders we had there, I was happy to give him a chance because he's just not been fit. I've not seen the guy play for us, and I think the money we brought him on, we can't just try and ship him out the back door because we're not going to get any money for him. Simple as that.
How much did you pay for him?
60.
65.
Is it 60? 65?
55. 50 plus
200K
5.
200K a week.
Yeah. You've got to give him next season then off the back of that, surely.
No, loan him out. Loan him out. I would just loan him out. I'd rather a youngster go in this place. This guy's useless. 2 years. He's Man United's worst signing in history.
More than Anthony.
Above Anthony.
Yeah, above Anthony. At least Anthony's fit. At least Anthony's fit. No, at least Højlund's fit. Mount's done nothing. Like
Højlund being injured would probably be a benefit to you.
I hear it, but I ain't seen nothing of Mount. He's even played more than 1,000 minutes, let alone 500 minutes for Man United. No. Worst signing in history of the Premier League. I promise you, unless you can tell me another one.
That's a fair.
Massimo Taibbi.
Hey,
no, he was just
he's
crap.
family, mate. He's family.
I mean, take any pick of the Man U signings, and you can make a case for worst signing in history, man.
Well, yeah, that's why you're trying to be like us for a Wolfie. But next season, when you realize what Champions League or Europa gets you, I can't wait for these panels. You're going to be my little bitch. You're going to actually fetch me my ale.
Yeah. Don't you talk about bitches when you're Spurs' bitch, man?
I am Wolfie. I've won more trophies in my whole lifetime than you've been alive. That's crazy. Do you know what I mean? And you're like 20 years older than me. Be embarrassed, mate.
I'd rather that than be Spurs' bitch, man, when they're sitting in 12th.
So what does that make? You used to lose to Bristol City every week and stuff like that. Who gives a shit?
They never lost to Spurs 3 times.
This is what one season. If this is what one season does to you, is insane. But Wolfie, like,
you should never have me and him on the same.
You know what the maddest thing is about this guy here? The maddest thing about this guy here. Has anyone asked Wolfie how confident he is?
About what?
Heard about the Champions
about Forest, let alone a Newcastle game. Should I say Newcastle? That one.
Am I confident about what?
Are you confident, or are you seeing that cracks might be showing potentially? And you know what? And big up Andy, let something slip yesterday. Pause. On his on Sava's channel about you, about how you really feel.
What did he say?
You should know. It's your feelings.
I don't know my feelings, man. I've already said we don't win this weekend, but we still will finish ahead of Arsenal.
That's not a trophy, mate.
When did I say it was a trophy?
This is a far cry from the Wolfie of 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but wait, no, I'm always like this after a loss. What are you talking about?
Are you winning this weekend?
No.
Serious question though. Are you worried about the drop off from potentially next season? So you've seen it to a point, particularly in the league for Villa this season, albeit Champions League, you are performing really well, Rich. But you saw it from Newcastle last season, so you've seen it a couple of years in a row. Brighton was similar as well when they were in Europa League last season too. Are you worried that that's going to be the case, or do you think Do you think you're going to have enough to manage it, particularly if you get Champions League football as an example?
I think we'll be fine, mate. I mean, you know, unlike Rich, we've done it twice before, so we'll be fine on that front. I know he's done it once, but I just, when you really think about it, you're talking about 8 extra games, aren't you? Like, is it that deep? 8 extra games. If a footballer can't be fit enough to play an additional 8 extra games as a minimum, then they're not good enough to be in that squad.
This was the argument that I had, Wolfie, and this is what I was saying for the first 7 games of this Champions League spell. I was like, don't give me that excuse about Champions League and a hangover after the Champions League and players should be fit enough and all this, you know, all the crap that they come out with about too many games and stuff. But I don't necessarily think it's the fitness or the capacity of the players. It's more about the mental...
Emotional.
Yeah. It's more about the emotional, the emotional toll that it takes, you know, to put yourself. A lot of players' first experience of the Champions League, all that kind of stuff. You know, you take the Bayern Munich game, for example. You've got the game before that, and then you've got the high of that game, and then you've got the lull of the next game after it. And it's all about it's how players manage that. It's not necessarily the fitness. Because, yeah, you're right. They should be able to. And if you win that game, you should be buzzing after to go into the next game. But we've won 1 game all season after a Champions League game. There has to be something in it. And it kind of then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? Because people keep talking about it, and it just keeps going on and on and on. So it can be an issue. There's no Newcastle faced it a little bit as well. You know, the high of beating Paris. I don't know what your result was after PSG, but the high of winning that game, or you know, you go over there and you're so unlucky in the game when you nearly got a result against them. I don't know what the next result was after that, but it takes a lot of emotional toll on you to go again the next game.
See, Wolfie wouldn't know that because since he's been alive, he's never experienced Champions League football. So, do you get what I mean?
I've experienced Saturday, Tuesdays pretty much day in, day out for the last 25 years.
And how long did that take you to get back up to the Prem?
But that was every team in there, bro.
No, it doesn't matter. The point is not just 8 extra games. It's recovery sessions. It's getting on a plane. You know, that does something to your legs.
Oh, because I'm sure they're traveling EasyJet, or maybe Ryanair.
It's not. What do you mean? It's already not. All right, cool. You know what? Fair. You know.
No. My point here, Cass. My point. Wait, let me make my point. My point is, every time you get into a transfer window, you hear that teams with Champions League spots will attract the better players. So by default, does that not mean the better players want to have those additional games? Therefore, hence why they're attracted to those clubs. And if that's the case, then they shouldn't have the excuse of either mentality or be it physically. You should be up for playing 2 to 3 games a week. Get on with it because you're damn well paid enough to.
You know what? If we go off experience of the last 2 years since we want to do recency and all this kind of stuff, Newcastle for the Geordie faithful, because you don't like the way Southerners say it. Go Champions League, there's an ultimate drop-off. Villa, in and around it, don't get me wrong, got a much better squad equipped, but guess what? Fell off a little bit. And now even they're drawing to flipping Ipswich out of all teams with 10 men. So if you think that you're going to maintain... Now, it's not about I'm talking about as a whole. I don't need to speak about Man United's perspective. We're shy.
You can. Like, how was your Champions League campaign last season?
It was crap. One of the worst, if not the worst. But other than that, I'm just saying, if you feel like you're going to be up there, then guess again.
Dan, I've spoken to you about this before, but like and obviously Kat as well, but from a Man United point of view, what's different? What's different now to, like, for example, in the Ferguson era, you're going into the sort of 2000s up until 2012-13 when Fergie retired. You guys were doing that week in, week out. So were Chelsea. So were Liverpool.
It was a mentality. It was the mentality breeded in Manchester United back then. It was a case of, it wasn't 8 extra games. It was winning mentality. We were going into these competitions not to just be a part of them, to win them. Villa fans, with the greatest respect, no Villa fan expected to go deep into the Champions League. It's an experience. And Rich, I say that with the greatest respect. Manchester United, we signed players. We brought players through the youth academy with that whole that Manchester United ethic, which was Champions League is a bare minimum. And so that is where I think the difference is with the top clubs and the clubs that go in there for the first time in a long time. Like Wolfie, I think as a Man United fan from experience, you have to make sure that the summer is a good one, because with the greatest respect to Villa at the start of the season were telling me that they got a squad ready for this. Well, if they had a squad ready for this, why were they going for Rashford and Asensio in January? I know obviously Duran went. You have to have the right blueprint in place for the Champions League. And by the way, the Champions League is a different beast than what we've all been used to. There's more games now. We know that the caliber of teams that you're playing is completely different now. So I think as for Wolfie, it may be 8 extra games, but the mentality has to be completely different, because you guys didn't come into this season expecting to get Champions League. Let's be honest. No chance. So the mentality has to be there, and Nuno is going to have to do an extremely good job to make sure that is bred throughout the team. For me,
yeah. The other thing is that, sorry, Wolfie. The other thing is that the generation of footballers now is completely different to the generation of footballers that were that were playing when Dan and Cass were talking about United back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It's completely different. Players now are happy to play in the Champions League. You look at the interviews that Villa players do, that Newcastle players do. It's like, oh, we just want to get into the Champions League. You wouldn't catch Roy Keane. This is why Roy Keane gets so angry. You wouldn't catch Roy Keane saying, oh, we're just happy to get into the Champions League. Roy Keane's like, if we ain't winning it, I don't want to play. That's Roy Keane. That's why he gets annoyed at people like James Maddison giving it loads for scoring a goal from 2 yards against Man United. Ridiculous mentality.
But the difference is with that as well is, and Cass is obviously a United fan. He's been there, same as me. Playing Juventus,
maybe a little bit more at you, but yeah,
maybe. We'll get the passport out for that. Playing Bayern Munich, playing Barca, playing Real Madrid, playing Juve. That was just another Tuesday to us. You know what I mean? That was another Tuesday, another Wednesday. That was just the norm. You guys have to make sure you're up for this. And as you've seen, Rich, this season, the fall off after that game, nobody understands how emotionally draining a Champions League night is at home for a team that hasn't been in there. So I think that's where Villa are struggling this season.
I think something I would add to your original question, Peter, about how were they doing it? The seeding, I think the changes in the Champions League are good and bad. Because when you look at when Man U were in there or Chelsea were in there when they were winning it, their groups were always shite. Yeah, they'd always get some team from Romania, one average team, and then another team they should be beating. Yeah, so they always were quite comfortable in the group stages, and then the focus became in the knockout stages. Where I think the changes have benefited is the likes of Villa, Forest, if we get it, and Newcastle, where you saw it in the group stages, you were not seeded. So I think, were you not in the fourth pot when you were in it before the changes?
Yeah.
So you're guaranteed to get those hard teams. Whereas now, if you're a new team or a team that hasn't been in it for a while, seeding doesn't really matter, because you're going to play 2 from 1, 2 from 2, or whatever the breakdown is. So I think that's balanced it out a little to say that it doesn't have to be that hard. It could have been harder if it was still group seedings as it was before. But I also think that those clubs that were winning it when they did had it easier because they were seeded, and you got some crappers in those groups.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And the new Champions League format is still under scrutiny. There's a lot of people, like you said, it is split. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are saying it's more entertaining. But I think personally, the Champions League got lucky this year with how entertaining it was, particularly in the last couple of games where there was stuff riding on it. I think what you find in other seasons is that it will be a lot more cut and dry in terms of who goes through and who doesn't, particularly with those top teams.
They'll manage it a lot better. And they'll know how to manage it better. Like it needed revamping because, as Wolfie said, the likes of Bayern Munich, City, Barcelona could phone it in for 4 games, or could phone it in for 2 games at least. Whereas this format is they've kind of been caught short a little bit because, like we've said, coming up against the likes of Villa or Celtic or someone like that at home, where it's a huge night for them, it's caught them unawares in a few games. Whereas next season and the season after, they'll probably be a bit more used to it and, you know, be sure to win the home games and then get a couple of results away from home, and that should see them through.
Yeah, and Rich, if that format hadn't changed, I'm not saying you wouldn't have gone through, but you could have potentially ended up in a group of, say, Real, Juve, one other team, and Villa, with only 2 qualifying. You know, so I think it's helped the newer teams coming through.
You end up with the same situation that Newcastle had, where you'll win a big game at home, but that team will ultimately punish you get their own back away from home. I know it was a tight game, and then you won't perform very well in a couple of games, which always happens in the Champions League anyway. With Villa, they've had 2 poor games in the Champions League, but they've had 5 really good performances that have got them the results, and they've had that opportunity to get through and to use that. Whereas before, like you boys had, you didn't have the opportunity to build on that Paris Saint-Germain result.
I'm so desperate for us to get back in the Champions League for that exact reason, because but that's Chris, come in on this one. I'm desperate for it because I genuinely think that we're looking at Villa and what they've done this season. If we'd have had that format last season, I think we'd have qualified. We'd have gone through, even into the playoffs minimum. I think we'd have gone through on that. But you know, from a Newcastle perspective, if we are lucky enough to get Champions League football this season, do you boys think we're going to be able to handle that better than we did last season? Do you think we'll be in a better position now we've had that experience?
That question, Pete?
That was Dad and Chris, by the way.
Oh, go on, boys.
Yeah, well, okay. For me, I think we have a bit of PSR. Well, we're a bit stronger than we were last year to start with, and we'll have Tonali. But then building on that, like we have the summer window, which this time we can't go through a 4th window and not without strengthening. So we will strengthen, and we'll find out more maybe later on tonight, even on how associated party transactions would play out. It may potentially in our favor, and even we might even get some compensation yet. You never know. But yeah, we should have a bit more wiggle room in the transfer market, and depending on where we end up, whether we're in European football, whether in the Champions League as well, so that to strengthen. Because it is difficult for us. If we do get in the Champions League, we'll still find it difficult to compete on all fronts because we're not that strong. We're not anywhere near an elite club yet. We saw that at the weekend. It was pretty evident. We've a long way to go.
What about you, Chris? What do you think? Think we'll handle it better if we get in there?
Yeah, 100%. I feel exactly the same way over the Carabao Cup final as well. I think we were a little bit starry-eyed with not just the Carabao Cup final against Man United, but also in the Champions League. Obviously, first experience in a long while in the Champions League. But these players now, I think if we were to qualify, they'll almost feel like, you know, we're here because we deserve it. We're here because we fought back, and we're here, you know, we've deservedly qualified. We're a year better off experienced. And we'll have a better squad than what we did last time round. I mean,
do you not think Eddie Howe will be more equipped as well, Chris? I think Eddie Howe was flying at the seat of his pants. I think he's going to be more equipped this time round as well. I think he was very naive in your last Champions League campaign. I think he'll have learned lessons from that.
Yeah,
it was the first time. Our first Champions League game was the first time he was at a Champions League game.
Yeah. You only have to look at the very last game against AC Milan. Yeah,
ever.
Yeah. Wow. You only have to look at that AC Milan game at the end. We had the possibility there of, you know, sneaking through into the Europa, or should I say dropping into the Europa, and we went gung-go. And then AC Milan went up the other end, scored, and then all of a sudden we went from elation near the start of the group when we were top, beating PSG, to then looking at the league table and thinking, now we're bottom. We're going out and we've got no Europe whatsoever now. And not that I'm blaming Eddie Howe, because I wouldn't change the campaign that we had, because it was brilliant, and, you know, it's not about pointing fingers. But I think that will stay with him, and he'll look back on that and think, you know what, next time, maybe not be so gung-go, or maybe just try and settle it out a little bit.
Cass had
blame
that
on
feeling
glowy
last year
teeth
as well.
Blame that on glowy teeth, mate. That was Tyndall's fault, I reckon. Tyndall saying
he's going for it.
You start blaming our Tyndall.
Villa have had enough of that. I still think that I still think you'll need to.
Can't stand it.
Yeah, there you go. I still think you'll need to buy players. Obviously, Isak we know is Champions League quality. We know that Botman is Champions League quality. But your goalkeeper, potential improvement there. The other centre back, fullbacks are great, but are young, and how will they cope with the experience? The midfield is great, but again, that depth. If one or two of them are injured, is Joe Linton in the Champions League? With some of the antics, which I love that he utilises, is that going to be as effective? So you will need to buy, definitely, and the same fate, we'll say it now, the same fate will come as the same as Aston Villa have faced this season. As you guys talked about it now. Once you're losing 2 or 3 players out of your first 11, it's a struggle for Newcastle. It still is. You've got a brilliant 12, 13 players, but after that, what have you got?
The signings were wrong, mate. Like I said this at the start, and I got mocked for it. When you're going into a Champions League campaign, you don't sign a Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley isn't your guy to be bringing you squad depth in a season like this. And I just think that's why I think we saw the panic at the end of the transfer window. And look, Cass and I have no right speaking about a transfer window. Ours was abysmal, but last minute getting in Rashford and Asensio, and the money that you're spending on these two as well, by the way, in wages, it just felt like panic to me. Absolute panic.
Yeah, I think that with all of the Euros, it absolutely isn't an excuse, but with all of that and players coming back here or there, and the PSR, the panic with getting selling a player before June 30th deadline, I don't think Villa got anywhere near finishing Emery got anywhere near finishing what he wanted to do in the transfer window. And I was saying, if people can go back to our pre-season reactions, I was like, we are nowhere near ready. Particularly as Unai Emery, how he is as a coach and how he likes everything to be set up and how he likes everyone to know exactly the set moves that they have to be in and positions that they have to be in. We were nowhere near ready in pre-season, and he wanted Diego Carlos out the team, wanted Diego Carlos out the club, and he ended up not getting rid of him till January, and he had to play him, and that tells you everything you need to know. There was players in that squad that he didn't want as part of the squad. Ross Barkley has probably been our best signing in that summer window. I know he hasn't played lately, but Onan has been a disappointment as much as he's been good when he's played in certain games. Maatsen is just he's been terrible, absolutely terrible.
Has he?
Yeah, he's just crap.
I thought he was going to be quality.
Lets too many crosses in. This is a general, but I think I've said this on this show. I don't understand what is going on with teams and the lack of fundamentals. We've seen where Forest are in the league this season because they've got the basics right. And I don't understand what it is with every other team that thinks they can just swan around the pitch and do what they want and not get the fundamentals right. Letting crosses in, letting players get headers in front of them, not attacking corners, not attacking free kick set pieces, just basic football that people are just getting wrong, and not taking care of. It's embarrassing.
Emery looks like he's already picked up on that with Maatsen, because he only tends to bring him on when you're chasing. When you're chasing a game and you need attacking emphasis, he'll bring him on because he knows defensively he ain't got it. And that's really surprised me because he really did look the part at Dortmund, and I thought that was a really shrewd signing when you paid a fair bit of money for him. What was it?
Yeah, you never know. He could come good. Tielemans last season took a long time. He didn't play a lot at the start and then took a while to settle. Maybe he'll come good, but he hasn't been very good he hasn't impressed me this season. Not that he needs to impress me, but yeah, he hasn't. With the Rashford and Asensio, I think you're probably right. I think they are slight panic buys.
Because of Duran.
I don't even think it's because of that. I just think we're not scoring any goals. Ollie Watkins, we know what Ollie Watkins is like. He will score you 15, 16 goals every season. He's a brilliant player in terms of running the centre backs and running the channels, and he gets chances, but he misses way too many chances for a top striker. But what got us away with it last season was John McGinn got 5 goals last season. Moussa Diaby got 7 or 8 goals. Douglas Luiz got 7 or 8 goals. Leon Bailey got double figures. This season, Leon Bailey scored 1 goal. John McGinn scored 0. Tielemans has scored 1 goal. Ramsey scored 1 goal. So our midfield. It's not Ollie Watkins isn't the issue. It's all the other players around him that aren't scoring any goals. That's the problem.
So, boys, we're beating around the bush here. We're talking and reminiscing ahead to Champions League next year. We need to answer the actual question. Who is the top 5 this season?
Oh,
It's a great
Spurs, Man United.
Rich, don't do that. Rich, don't.
I'm sorry. I'm getting into Billy territory there, aren't I? I'm sorry.
I wonder what the
I'm
chat
sorry.
think as well. Like,
Rick, all you need to do is do that in his goal.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that to him.
You'll soon be cussing him, mate, when you haven't got Champions League, and because of the wages, he's completely fucked you, and you've got to sell players in the summer because of taking that risk, mate. Trust me. Don't be doing it.
I to be fair though, I think Disassi has cost us more money than Rashford will cost us.
did you get Disassi as well?
Yeah, we haven't paid a loan fee for Rashford. We're just paying wages, which is effectively about 8 million. But Disassi, we've paid 5 million loan fee, and he'll be on a decent wage. So I think we've probably paid more for him. But you're right, mate. It's panic. I definitely don't think Unai wanted to make. We didn't do any loan signings at the start of the season. Didn't want to do any this season, but he's had to. Well, yeah. Sorry, I'm ranting on about Villa.
Well, let's answer Fox's question.
How much you pay for Rashford?
Well, it's what is it? It's 75% of his wages for what, 5 months?
No loan fee, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, you're paying like most of his wage, but I don't understand this whole thing because apparently your wage to that new rule that's incoming is like 96% or some crap like that.
That's been deferred for a year at least.
Yeah, I think I think it's slightly skewed because we announced 13 months of figures as well.
To be fair, I don't think you lot would be in trouble because I feel like you Monchi and the rest of it. I feel like they know what they're doing more time. Same thing with the owner of Forest with all the liquidation of debts and all this crap, whatever it is. They all know what they're doing. They're not stupid.
Oh, of course. Exactly. Yeah.
Apart from the Glazers.
Nah, they don't. They just get dividends.
Who? Don't even mention them.
Do you know what? I've got a little admiration for the Glazers because they've played a blinder. Because right now, all I'm seeing the complaints about is Ineos, which for me is exactly why the Glazers sold what they sold. They've got this nice buffer. Everyone's turning on Jim will fix it. And the Glazers, you're just not hearing their name in the Man U fan base. They're just targeting it. You almost have to say they're genius in the way they've styled it out. They'll take their dividends again this year, the odd 20.5 mil, whatever it is. And they'll continue to wait.
In its own way, business-wise, they have pulled a blinder, without a doubt, for what they got it for in the first place. Big up Fergie for that one, prick.
Ooh, I like it. Tell me more.
Tell
me more. Can I just quote you to Fergie the prick?
Yeah, 100%. It's not even Sir Alex. It's just Alex. Like
now, honestly, I'm interested. Go on, Cass.
What do you mean? The whole reason why they got Glazers was fucking Sir Alex or Alex and the flipping horses in the first place. Do you know what I mean? It's all him. He built it up just to flipping pay his own way, innit? But you know.
And do you agree with that, Fergie the prick?
Yeah, of course I don't agree with prick, but I do agree with Kaz in the sense that he completely ruined it because he fell out over horses ownership and they're essentially just pumped and dumped. Simple as that.
So he's a prick.
Can't say that.
The maddest thing is like why he's also a prick is because if he decided to call out the Glazers when he did, rather than taking his 3 million per year to shut his flipping face up, all the United fans would have united then. But he's the only one that can do it. Nobody else. But get your 3 million a year.
Not anymore.
Who was it? Was it you, Dan? Was it you, Dan, on the 12th man yesterday that said that they've done so well to put like 3 layers of criticism between them and
it was me.
That was a good line. That was because they're genius. That's exactly what they've done.
Yeah,
it's an absolutely smart move. They've took all the pressure off them, and Wolfie's right. They're still taking that big chunk of money out the club every year. but nobody's saying their name, and so Jim has fallen right into it, and everyone.
We'll see if that's happening tomorrow when the second financial quarter's out. We'll see what the latest troubles are. 7:30 in the morning.
This guy, sorry, was this guy? That's the prick, is it?
Yeah, he's a prick.
I mean, I agree. He is a prick.
Okay.
And you're always working, man. You're always working away.
A lot of trophies there.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, you're a great football manager. Yeah, great, but off the pitch and all that kind of stuff, what you did, you're an absolute prick. There's nothing
Even
more
on
to
the
it.
pitch, he was a prick.
You can like a footballer, but you might not like the antics off the pitch. You know what I mean? They're good. Like John Terry, for instance, great footballer, but off the pitch, you're a wanker, mate. For your actions back then, you might be a different person now, but you know, there we go. How can you destroy a club over horses? Yeah, same thing.
I'm smiling cast on the inside and outside now. Thank you.
You reeled him in,
my day.
just like Dan did to Billy last night. You reeled.
So you're in a way, like Wolf, you're correct with like putting Ineos at the chart. Like they only own Glazer, Jim pretty much owns 27%. I know there's like an agreement for them to go after a certain period, so they get their 6 billion. There's no time frame on it, but at the end of the day, they're at the forefront of everything when they don't own the complete package, and yet they're the ones getting told, oh, you know, you're the. You know, why are you getting rid of like so and so jobs? I don't care if their jobs are gone. I don't know these people. I couldn't care less about them.
Correct.
I want to win.
Correct.
Like
100%.
It's normal business. Oh, but you have to think about their families. If they're good at their jobs, they'll get another one. If not, then stand corrected. This is all because of one man. So if you want to, like Teddy Sheringham coming out talking about, oh, those people that made the club the way it is. Okay, well, Sir Alex made it feel welcome, and this is what he wanted. Well, he destroyed it at the same time. So point the finger at that prick. So on that notice. Stop being like an idiot. Stop being an idiot about it, because I'm sure he knows. It's the truth.
It's like with Leeds when Peter Risdale spent like $5,000 on fish tanks or something, and then just because there must have been to be in the position where you have to get rid of people and you have to cut costs. There have to have been some serious overspending in certain areas. There has to have been. But like, I know they haven't done stuff in terms of the club, the ground and stuff like that. But but
the overspending comes from a player. Look what they did with Pogba. Sold him for $500,000, wasn't it, to Juve? Bought him back for nearly 100 mil or whatever it was.
In that itself, it's like you could have rebuilt it around him and all that. But I know the whole reason why Fergie did it because of him and the agent, and also when he saw Fabio go in midfield before him. I mean, after him, if I was in that shoot, I'll probably leave as well. He made his name at the end of the day, but you brought him in just to not build around him. You give him Matic, who's finished. Herrera was decent, I suppose, in that sense. But beyond that, it's like, I don't know what it is. I think they're having a laugh up there because when we've needed a midfield rebuild for 10, 15 years, since Scholes left, comeback, Carrick left, and all that kind of stuff, it's like you're paying for everything else but the midfield. But you thought one midfielder is going to do everything. And top Reds are just stupid thinking that a midfielder, 6/8, is going to get you 10 goals and 10 assists every single year, playing deep because that's where the manager deployed him. Absolutely stupid. And now that we got no talent in the team, then they're wondering why we got nothing going on. Well, it's because top Reds don't like talent. They like people that got passion, McTominays of the world, no ability, box crashing, running, headless chickens, Bruno Fernandes. Crap, man. This is what
the best dream I've ever been on.
So who's getting top 5 then?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna end on. So
by the sounds of it.
Let's go around the houses. Who wants to start? Let's work our way around. Rich, go on. You
Chris
start.
Go on,
Chris, go.
Oh yeah, go on, Chris. We'll start with Chris and work our way around. Go on.
So for me, the top 3 set. It's Liverpool, Arsenal, City. I think that's how the top 3 ends up. And
what do you mean it's set? They're not even third.
It's done. Mate, it's done.
How can you say it's set? It hasn't been set yet.
Mate, I'm telling you now. I'll be gobsmacked if it's not Liverpool, Arsenal, City. Gobsmacked. City will do it, mate. But hey, listen to the other two.
Lions till Thursday, remember.
I think fourth's going to be Newcastle.
Oh.
And I think 5th is going to be Forest.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
After your capitulation at Manchester City, Unbelievable.
Ooh,
Mate,
low blow.
mate, I think we'll put that behind us and we'll go on a little resurgence. I do.
I thought you did that after Bournemouth, but no.
True.
Ooh, backhand.
Being honest, this has been a tough run of fixtures, and it will be. Even Sunday,
Yeah.
we've already said we get to Anfield after that. But after that, I think the next game is West Ham away just before the cup final. But we've got then a run up until I think we play Arsenal away in May. I think we've got a run up there of games where I think we can pick up a significant amount of points. So, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that top 5 right there and then. But Dan, what are you thinking? Top 5 related? How do you think it's going to be set?
I think the top 4 are pretty much there. I don't know which way they're gonna finish it yet. I just can't pick 5th because I just think there's so many inconsistencies. Bournemouth seem to just become in levels above levels above levels. Chelsea, not a chance. Chelsea, absolutely not. So it's between you guys and Bournemouth. And at the moment, I'm going to stick my neck out and say Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth have just gone under the radar, doing what they're doing. Wolfie, I've put you in the top 4, mate. So let's
But I hate Bournemouth, man.
I genuinely think Bournemouth have been allowed to go under the radar. Iriola's doing such a fantastic job. And let's not forget, Iriola has had injuries after injuries after injuries. And these guys are still picking out results. So I would be I'd be a fool to back against them. So it's between you two. I don't think Chelsea are there. And it's too far for Fulham. Too far.
Okay. Cass, what do you think? Top 5?
I think Arsenal's going to win the league. Liverpool going to drop off because that's you need to speak into existence. You never know. I'd rather that. I think Man City going to do. I think Man City finish 3rd, man. Allow it. In 4th, I'm going to put Newcastle there. 5th, Bournemouth.
Oh, really?
6th will be yeah. I think after this weekend and after next, when Wolfie gets a nice little slapping by Newcastle and who's the other one after that? Arsenal as well. I think after that, and then after they got Man City, and then we're also going to give them a nice little.
We got you.
We're gonna get a point out of that. Yeah,
that's chest right there, mate. A point.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? They're going to drop off. Wolfie's predictions are coming true. The thing is, he's sitting there with his arms folded. Yeah, like he hasn't predicted that he's going to lose this weekend. But yet he wants to sit there thinking, yeah, I'm going to be top 4. But he ain't even got back to Chester for his own club. Makes sense, right? Crazy. Don't let Wolfie try to do this thing where he beats around the bush.
Coming from the guy who said they would beat Spurs 2-1.
Yeah, that's great. I predict lots of shit every year.
Exactly, just like you did now with your top 5, mate.
But when you know when you take away bias away from your own club and start to actually look at other clubs, then you could be a little bit more fair. Unlike you, Wolfie, that you think everything revolves around you, but that's not the case. So
you revolve around me, mate.
Interesting. Right, we'll go round and then we'll come round into the middle to finish with Wolfie at the end. So, Rich, what's your top 5, mate?
I've just been trying to looking at the Premier League table, and it's so difficult to call. Like Dan said, for the 4th and 5th spot.
Do you think there's some disrespect that Villa's not been in this conversation? So?
Absolutely not. Villa have got no chance. No chance. There was a stat going around that in terms of the average points needed to even come 5th out of the next 13 games, Villa would have to win 10. To get that.
What is the average on 5th?
I think it's 68 for 5th.
No, I think it's lower than that. I think 67 was top 4.
Yeah, didn't we, lads?
That was last season. It was lower, but the average points of the last 10 years or something was 68 points to finish 5th. So Villa would need to win 10 out of 13. So there's absolutely zero chance of that happening.
Yeah, I think it was 66 last season. I think 5th got. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so 5th is the average points is 68, 6th is 63, 7th is 59, 8th is 55. So I think we could get 6th at a push. But yeah, I'd say Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Forest will just about cling on to it, and then it's out of Bournemouth and Newcastle. I think Dan said that. I think it's out of use too. I think I'd just plump for Newcastle.
Good lad.
Come on, God, I want you lot to do it, man. I want you lot to do it, man. Please.
I want this to do it
Stop
as well.
letting me
We all
down.
do on this top.
I'm actually quite
I'm
glad
sure.
I couldn't watch you lot on Saturday because I'm just glad I couldn't do that because as soon as that first goal went in for Man City, I was just like, I'm glad I'm out for my birthday, mate. At least.
I wish I was Chris on Saturday. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Chris was the same.
he missed the game, and I was stood
I
there.
was watching him.
Away from where I am now, just watching that, thinking, "What am I doing here?" Like,
Have you done something to that Yano, Wolfie? He says between now and the beginning of May, Forest will pick up no more than 6 points.
I mean, we still got to play Leicester at home and Ipswich and Man U. You know, we've got relegation for the team. So
To
I
be
don't
fair,
know.
if Yano's right, that is a absolutely seismic collapse.
Oh, job.
Gigantic.
Yeah.
collapse.
But if we're saying that-
Southampton will pick up 6 points.
If we're saying that, then if we say that, what you think? Yeah, no. If that's to you, does anyone believe Chelsea are anything better than Forest right now, or even Villa?
Exactly.
No,
Wait, so why you guys
Go on,
out of the
Pete.
top 5 then, Chris?
I got you in 6th. I think you get Europa.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Forest, and then I'm with you, Rich, and Dan as well. I think it's going to be between us and Bournemouth. I've said it to these boys. I'm looking at Bournemouth's fixtures, and I'm like, they have
Bournemouth have got a great run coming up. They've got a
They're
really
easy.
not a great run coming up, Dan. They've got a great end to the
All
season.
the way till the third from the end of the season.
All the way to the end of the season. Their fixtures they're the best of any of the top 10.
That will make it sweeter when they blow
Brilliant.
up. That will make it sweeter.
And so, and so you find it hard right now to see where they're going to drop points, but you just kind of hope that they do. So I'm going to back my boys to get 5th. That's what I'm going for. I said 5th was my initial prediction at the start of the season, so I'm going to stick with it. So that's where I'm going. But Dad, come on, let's go to you, fella.
Right. Okay. Liverpool, Arsenal, City. 4th and we beat Forest at the weekend, but Forest and Newcastle end on the same points total with only goal difference separating them. The alliance is strong, both into the Champions League because 5th place with the coefficient, and bring on the new format of the Champions League.
Can you tell me what this points number is in the goal? I'll forget a bet on it.
No.
You've not said what position, though, have you?
No, I haven't. The goal difference will decide that.
I don't think
yours
either
is
of us
worse
will
than
complain.
ours now, which is unreal. huh?
None of us will complain about that. That's for sure. But Wolfie, we'll finish with you, fella.
Forest, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, maybe Arsenal. I think Arsenal collapse. I don't know how big that collapse is, but they're going to collapse. Once that title is out of their reach, their players' heads are going to drop. That's if Liverpool beat Villa tomorrow, and by the way, come on you villains, man, tomorrow. I think that's enough to crush them. And what then they'll switch their focus over to the Champions League. If Arsenal finish 2nd or 5th, it's same difference, isn't it?
It's an interesting point you said, actually.
I just think once the title feels out of reach, their focus has to switch to the Champions League. He cannot go this season without a title, without a trophy. And I think they have no attack. And they looked absolutely shite against Leicester. It took them 80-odd minutes to break them down.
They got lucky they were playing Leicester.
They were lucky. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know what annoys me as well about Villa playing Liverpool tomorrow night is I can see us winning that game. I can see us winning that game, and I can see us turning up for that game. We seem to be a team this season that just turns up for these one-off games. It's really pissing me off. I've done a bit of a TikTok about it. I'll be really pissed off if we win tomorrow because it's just like that tin pot attitude where you get yourself up for the big games and you get yourself up for it when you're the underdog. Same for the fans as well. Like the atmosphere will be brilliant tomorrow when the atmosphere needed to be brilliant on Saturday against Ipswich because those are the games you need to be winning if you want to be anywhere near top 4. That's
Which I won't be pissed off.
That's what really pisses me off.
This is what we said on Saturday for our review, lads. we said exactly the same with Newcastle. We turn up against Fulham and we play shite and we lose. Then on the Wednesday, we go and put in an outstanding performance against Arsenal and tear them apart. And then we go and do that against Man City. That's the frustration. It's a massive, and this is why we need to turn up on Sunday. But
Against Chris Wood, how can you let your former striker score against you? That's not
Got a
right.
hat trick against them last season.
I remember.
He did.
Oh my word, you lot destroyed them. That was at their gaff as well, wasn't it?
That's when we were shite, man. With just that Cooper, we are
Wait, can
freaking
I
on
ask
the barrel.
where's Botman? Because again, he's where is he?
he got a bit of a knee niggle against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup second leg, so he went off towards the end. But Eddie Howe said last week that he'd be back for this game. So
I never want to see Burn at centre back. Like no more. Like him and Shaw, anyways. Not that partnership. Don't want to see it. It just never worked.
I think it could be Burn and Botman.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Shaw's not been playing well, but
you say he's got his contract and said, "Yeah, I'm chilling now." Yeah, like that one against the big boys. But obviously, no one wants to mention it because it's Newcastle.
Can we do a quick stat check? How many goals does Isak on this season in the Prem?
Who's
17, I think.
Who's that?
Isak.
Yeah, but I was just on that.
Yeah, I just want to check.
I
Wood's
think
on
it's
18, isn't he?
17 Isak's on. I thought Wood was on the same. I thought Wood was on
that would be one less than 18 if my maths is right, isn't it?
Oh, was Wood got 18 then?
Yeah,
Wood's
yeah,
on 16 after Fulham.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, he's on 18.
That's all right.
Did a quick stat check. That's all. All right.
All right. We're going to end that there because we will reconvene on Thursday. But boys, it's been a pleasure. Great chat. Great panel as always. We've avoided all of our teams' deficiencies at the weekend and talked about other clubs or just other things related to football. But look, make sure you go and following all these guys on their channels. Make sure you go and following Kaz on Never a Foul. Dan United on United First on TikTok. Make sure you go and follow Wolfie at Forest Fans TV and Rich, of course, Villa Park Pod. Massive game tomorrow. We will be there. We will be watching very, very closely on that one. And of course, make sure you subscribe to Loaded Mag at NUFC. We are back in about 13 minutes. We are going live with Kieran Maguire, the finance
oracle,
talking all things associated party transactions. So if you want to know how it's going to affect Newcastle, Man City, and others, maybe Villa, maybe Forest, you need to tune in. We will be there, boys. Let's get out of here.
See you later. Bye-bye.